Have you ever looked around your home in the evening, maybe after dinner, when the dishes are done and the TV is quietly humming in the background, and suddenly felt the stillness? That kind of silence that makes you wonder, is this what life looks like now? You're not sad exactly, but it's quiet, too quiet sometimes. If you're over 70 and living alone, that quiet can feel like both a comfort and a curse. Some days it's peaceful, other days it feels like the walls are listening. And maybe you've asked yourself, is this safe? Am I okay here by myself? What if something happens? You're not alone in those thoughts. In fact, more people over 70 are living solo than ever before. And yes, that can feel a little intimidating. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be scary. Not if you know a few simple things that can make a world of difference in how you feel and how you live every day. This isn't about fear. It's about freedom. Living alone after 7-0 can be one of the most empowering experiences of your life if you have the right mindset, the right habits, and a few smart tools on your side. Today, we're going to talk about 5 key things that can completely shift the way you experience life on your own. Things that can bring you confidence, comfort, and even joy in this season of life. So, let's get into the first one. And this one's big. Trust your routine. You might be thinking, routine? That sounds boring. But hang on. This isn't about rigid schedules or filling every minute with something to do. It's about creating a rhythm to your days that give you comfort and keeps your mind and body engaged. When you live alone, a routine becomes more than just a way to stay organized. It becomes a way to stay grounded. You wake up and know what comes next. You get out of bed with a sense of purpose, even if it's something as simple as watering plants, opening the blinds, making your morning tea, or taking a walk around the block. Little rituals, repeated daily, bring a sense of order, and that order creates calm. It tells your brain, we're okay, we're safe, we've got this. Let's say every morning you read a chapter of a book, do a few gentle stretches, and check in with a neighbor or family member by phone. That's a strong, steady start to the day. And when your mornings have shape, the rest of the day tends to follow. But here's the trick. Don't overload yourself. Your routine doesn't have to be packed full of errands or chores. Just focus on a few anchor points, morning, midday, and evening. Meals help with this too. Having breakfast at the table instead of on the couch, lighting a candle at dinner, turning on soft music in the evening. These small gestures can create a rhythm that soothes the soul. And don't underestimate the power of consistency. When the world feels uncertain, or even when your joints feel a little extra stiff, having a predictable daily flow helps you feel in control. That sense of control is key when you're living solo. Now, once you've got your daily rhythm in place, the next important thing to remember is this. Connection doesn't have to be constant, but it does need to be meaningful. Just because you live alone doesn't mean you have to feel alone. That's a big distinction. You can absolutely love your own company and still crave connection now and then, and that's perfectly normal. We're wired for human contact. But here's where it gets tricky. After 70, your circle might start to shrink. Friends move. Family gets busy. Some people we love pass on. So you might wonder, where do I find connection now? The answer is right where you are. Think of connection not as a big event, but as a thread you gently weave into your life. A 5-minute chat with a neighbor as you get the mail. A regular phone call with a niece or cousin. Even a friendly exchange with the cashier at the store. These little moments matter more than you think. And don't be afraid to reach out. People often hesitate to call someone because they think, I don't want to bother them. But guess what? Most of the time, the other person is thinking the same thing. They'd love to hear from you. Sometimes they just need a nudge. If you're comfortable with technology, you've got even more options. Video chats, online book clubs, even Facebook groups for folks over 60 who are sharing stories, recipes, or simply chatting about their day. And if tech isn't your thing, that's totally fine too. Handwritten notes, lunch with a neighbor, or even joining a walking group can open doors to connection. The key is quality, not quantity. One warm, genuine conversation can brighten your whole week. You don't need to fill your calendar with social events. Just aim for 1 or 2 points of contact each week. that feel good to you. That's enough to remind you that you're part of something, that you matter to others and they matter to you. So if you've been thinking, I'm just too old to start new friendships, or people have their own lives, I want you to remember this. People of all ages want connection. You're not too old, and it is not too late. The quiet of living alone can be beautiful, but even a beautiful silence is better when you know you're not forgotten in it. Now that we've talked about building a strong daily rhythm and finding meaningful connection in simple ways, it's time to talk about something that doesn't always get the attention it deserves: your space. Your home, the place you wake up in, move through, rest in, and return to each day. When you live alone, your home becomes more than just four walls and a roof. It becomes your partner. And just like any good partnership, it works best when it's safe, supportive, and tailored to you. Now, you don't need a full renovation or fancy gadgets. What you do need is a few smart tweaks to make your living space work with you, not against you. Think of it this way. Every time you walk across the room, open a cabinet, or climb into bed, your environment is either helping you or creating friction. Start small. Look around your space and ask yourself, does this feel easy? Does this feel safe? Maybe that rug in the hallway has a corner that curls up just enough to trip you. Or your favorite reading chair has a wobbly leg you've been meaning to fix for months. These seem like small things, but when you're living alone, they matter more than ever. Because here's the truth. When there's no one else around, your home has to be your safety net. It should support you, not challenge you. Good lighting is another unsung hero. Soft, warm lighting that comes on easily, especially at night, can keep you from fumbling in the dark or feeling disoriented. Motion sensor lights in a hallway or bathroom, game changer. And they're not just practical, they offer peace of mind. Let's not forget comfort. Your home should make you feel good emotionally, too. Maybe it's time to let go of that heavy old couch that's hard to get out of and replace it with a comfy chair that hugs your back. Or maybe you need to bring more light into a room by opening the curtains each morning or hanging a cheerful photo that reminds you of someone you love. The beauty of the stage in life is that you get to decide what feels good, what stays, what goes, what makes you feel safe, supported, and, well, at home. And while you're making your space more comfortable, let's talk about another big one: learning how to ask for help when you need it. Now, this isn't always easy. For many of us, especially those who've been independent our whole lives, the idea of needing help can feel like weakness. But let me tell you something straight. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. Because the truth is, no one at any age gets through life alone. Even the most self-sufficient person still relies on others in small, everyday ways. And when you live alone, knowing who to call and when to call them can make all the difference. It could be as simple as asking your neighbor to help you bring in a heavy package, or calling your daughter when you're not sure if that weird email is a scam, or letting your doctor know that something just doesn't feel quite right, even if you're not sure what it is. You don't have to wait for a crisis to reach out. In fact, it's better if you don't. Think of it like this. You're building a small team, a support circle, people who you trust and who care about you. That might include family, friends, neighbors, your doctor, the pharmacist down the street, or even someone from your place of worship or community center. These are your people, and chances are they want to help. They just need to know how. One way to make this easier is to keep a simple list somewhere visible, maybe on the fridge or near the phone, with the names and numbers of people you can call in different situations. Not just emergencies. Everyday things, too. Need a ride to an appointment? Feeling off and want someone to check in later? That list becomes a bridge between you and the world, even when it feels like you're on your own island. And here's the magic part. When you start reaching out, even just a little, something changes. That sense of isolation, it starts to shrink. You realize you're not as alone as you thought. And that, my friend, can change everything. So many people over 70 think they have to handle everything themselves because they don't want to be a burden. But I want to flip that thinking around. What if, by asking for help, you're actually giving someone else the gift of connection, the chance to feel useful, needed, included, because people love to feel needed. And you Just by being you, give them that. We've talked about a lot so far: your routine, your connections, your space, your support circle, and there's one more piece of the puzzle that ties it all together beautifully. And that final piece is one that often gets overlooked, but it's perhaps the most important of them all: your mindset. Because here's the honest truth: how you think about living alone has a huge impact on how you feel about it. And how you feel influences every choice you make, every interaction you have, and every moment you spend with yourself. Now, I want to gently ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, what's your first thought? Is it something like, here we go again, another day on my own? Or is it, all right, what can I enjoy today? That small difference in attitude sets the tone for everything else. And I know it's not always easy. There are days when you miss someone so deeply it hurts. Days when the quiet is heavier than usual. But even on those days, the way you talk to yourself matters. You see, mindset isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about ignoring the hard stuff. It's about reminding yourself that you still have choice. You still have control. You still have so much life left to live. And it's yours to shape. Living alone doesn't have to mean living in fear or loneliness or waiting for the what-ifs. It can mean freedom. It can mean peace. It can mean waking up and deciding, today, I'm going to do something that makes me feel good. And here's something to keep in your back pocket on the tougher days. Joy doesn't always come in big packages. Sometimes it's as simple as a good cup of coffee on a sunny porch, a walk past blooming flowers, watching the birds hop around in the yard like they own the place. You have permission to savor those small things, to slow down, to enjoy your own company, and yes, to grieve when you need to, but also to smile again, to laugh, to try something new. Let me tell you about a woman named Jean. She was 74 when she decided to take a watercolor class at the local library. She hadn't painted since high school, said her hand shook too much, and she wasn't creative enough. But she went anyway, and every Tuesday, she'd come home with her little tote bag, cheeks pink from chatting with the others. Her painting? Sometimes it was messy, sometimes it was beautiful. But what mattered was that she was doing it, that she showed up for herself. That's what mindset looks like in real life. Not perfection, but participation. Not control over everything, but courage to try anyway. So if you find yourself thinking, I'm too old to start over, or I've missed my chance, I want you to pause and gently ask, is that really true, or is that just fear talking? Because chances are you have more freedom than you think. It might not be about painting or taking up yoga. It could be about reading more books, baking cookies just for you, calling someone you've been meaning to reconnect with, decluttering a closet so your space feels fresh again. The point is, you still get to write your story. And just because you live alone doesn't mean you live less. In fact, there's a kind of beauty in having the space to know yourself more deeply, to rediscover your own preferences, routines, little quirks, without having to answer to anyone else. That's not lonely. That's powerful. Of course, there will still be days when it feels hard. That's life. But when you've created a daily rhythm, built a few strong connections, made your space safe and cozy, and reminded yourself that asking for help is a strength, not a weakness, those hard days don't feel quite so heavy. Because you've got tools, you've got people, and most importantly, you've got you. Let's take a moment and breathe that in. You are capable. You are wise. You've made it through so much already, and you still have so much ahead of you that's worth living for. Don't let the number on your birthday candles fool you. You are still becoming, still growing, still maturing, maybe now more than ever. So if you're living alone after 70, remember, it's not something to fear. It's something to shape. You get to fill that space with meaning, with memories, with the sound of your own laughter. You get to set the tone of your day, your week, your life. And you don't have to do it all at once. Just start small. One conversation, one new habit, one little shift in the way you talk to yourself. Before you know it, those little things add up to a life that feels solid, safe, joyful, even exciting. I'd love to hear from you. What helps you feel strong and grounded when you're on your own? Do you have a favorite morning ritual? A cozy corner in your house you love? Drop in the comments below and let's start a conversation. You never know who might need to hear your story. If this video brought you comfort or gave you something to think about, give it a like so others can find it too. And if you'd like more warm, real, practical advice for living well after 60, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's always more to explore together. Here's to living your best life. On your own, but never truly alone. You've got this, and I'm so glad you're here.